So as you're consulting with your clients, where do you start with that, right? Like if an organization comes to you and they say, hey, we need to be doing more with less, is that less people? Is that less tools? Is it all of the above? Less money to spend on advertising? It's probably a combination of all those things. So where do you start in helping them break all that down? Because it can be overwhelming, especially if you're a one-person HR team and your CEO is telling you, we got to be more efficient. You're like, okay, cool. Where do we start with that, right? So how would you break that down with a client?
Certainly. So first, I want to see what you're currently doing for say a product. Like, let's show me the documentation, and then I'm going to shadow you through something, right? Especially if something is on the horizon and it's coming up, not if they just don't have anything right now. I want to see it. I want to feel it. I just want to sit back. I'm a fly on the wall. I want to feel what that thing looks like because I put myself in the candidate's shoes. And then obviously I've been that one person show. So I know, so then I'm just feeling what they're doing and then they're going through. So once we get there, so my thought is, first of all, process is king and queen. It's a one that stop. Like once we see that we're going to start to look at your process, I want to know what is your training program? So how are new managers in the organization trained? We're literally going step by step. So we want to see, I'll take a step back for a second. We want to see what are your touch points with the candidate? How are you training managers? What does that interview process look like for the people? So are they meeting with 10 people? Are they meeting with only the key stakeholders that will integrate with that job or interact with that job? And we start to take it apart, which is sometimes the hardest piece because sometimes I'm taking the process apart with the person who created it. And so we start to take it apart. So we all right, let's get the process. We're going to remove waste from the process. What is waste? Waste are those unnecessary touch points. So why do we need 5 phone screens with 5 different people? And let's even go back. Do we have the right position description? So before we do anything, let's make sure that this is the role that we're hiring for. Let's make sure that we are aligned because we always want the $200,000 candidate with the $50,000 budget. Why do we need somebody to do all 100 of these things? That's going to be great 2 years down the road, but the person is highly qualified and that can take the program from step 10 to step 50 is not the same person that we want to hire when we're only at the design phases of said implementation for the organization. That person is already there and has been there and done that. They're not going to want to roll their sleeves up and do this. They want to lead a team. They want to think about strategy. So we got to get that position right? Once we get that right, we want to make sure that when we're interviewing, that the managers know what they can or that they should and should not ask. That anybody that's on that panel know what to ask and what not to ask, right? We want to make sure and that everyone is getting the same experience. It doesn't matter, right? So now you may take a staff level role and then an executive role. And that executive role, obviously they're going to meet with more people and they're going to meet. But at a baseline level, everyone is receiving the same experience, even if it's for the role type, position, or level within an organization, right? So the touch points are the same. The overall interview process kind of looks the same, but it may be more interviews than not. And so we really rebuild the whole thing. We rebuild the process from scratch to remove the waste, to ensure that there is a process, that process is documented, it's being followed. We don't want a process to stifle us. We want to keep some creativity there, but it has to be thoughtful, it has to be meaningful, and most certainly it has to be compliant.